have a little fun thing for you guys. So a year ago, one sheet of 3/4 inch of Vanatech was $32.50. 2 hours ago, it was $80.44. I don't even know what the math is. $60, the difference in one sheet. 7/16 OSB a year ago was around $10. 2 hours ago was $43. 5/8 CDX plywood a year ago was $23. 2 hours ago, it was $64 a sheet. One 2x6 was $5.50. Today it's almost $13 for one 2x6 8-footer. That's huge. It's just, I'm sure Bob can certainly jump in, but it's out of control. I had a price of 5/8 plywood 2.5 weeks ago, $44. It's gone up $20 in less than 3 weeks. It is just, so if these prices drop off for spec houses, for sales, there won't be any more spec houses.
Right. Now, how are you seeing supplies when you are building?
Product availability. There's a decking that I used to use. Keep in mind, used to. Right now, it's 27 weeks out. It's like, what do you do if you're a 10-footer short? We'll see you in the fall. It's some windows now. Windows got down to, over the past 20 years, 2 weeks out. Some windows now are out 11 weeks. Kitchens, years ago, we used to order the kitchens when we started framing. Over the past 20 years, kitchens have gotten down to 2 to 3 weeks. Kitchens are back up to 15 weeks. Product availability has just gone nuts. Some vinyl siding, we can't even get. We can't even get because of the colors. There's resins. They're saying that a lot of the plywoods and a lot of the vinyl siding and some of the flooring that has resins in it are being affected exponentially. So it is just absolutely bonkers what's going on out there. And nobody seems to have one answer. COVID was a huge part of it, but it is just nuts right now as far as new builds go. So I'm actually doing remodeling and having fun right now.
And
getting ready for 2 new builds, but one of the customers, I don't know if they're going to hang on or not, because it's not going to be till the fall. As far as watching this, I obviously have an updated pricing clause, and I've been just updating them recently. And these prices that are 2 hours old to me, I was like, what? The 5/8 CDX went up $20 in 2.5 weeks for one sheet of plywood.
And I would jump in there. I mean, Greg, I appreciate that because that really puts it in perspective. And before this meeting, Greg sent us a letter from some of his suppliers, and it's a global situation. I mean, it's pretty crazy to sit here and say the Suez Canal can put a factor into or the Texas power outage. It really messed with the resin production, which was in that letter that Greg sent us. So it's a global situation. I just talked to a customer that just got a 17% increase in their cost to build their home. And break that out via different price points. 17% adjustment over a house you thought you were going to build is a huge change. And so I think we've seen a lot of people trying to push forward and absorb that cost or work with the bank to put a cushion in there. But that's going to be a factor unless that global supply and pricing come under control.
Right. We got out of it in 2020, but 2020, it hit our industry with like a brick.
Yeah.
And I don't think we're going to get away from it this year. I think this year is just going to be silly. I hope next year's got to be better. It can't be worse.
I have a question actually for Ed from Northway. Ed, are you seeing an increase in construction loans?
Yeah, so I'd say on a weekly basis, in a normal year, I might get maybe 1 call a week. And now I'm fielding probably 3 to 4 calls for construction loans and probably more than that for land loans for people who want to get the land and then go build something. So it's almost like the first time home buyers. You try to do a first time home buyer pre-qualification. They're qualified for 120,000. You give them a letter and say, good luck finding something. It's kind of the same thing when I do a pre-qualification for a construction loan, because I'm like, here you go. You're pre-qualified for that amount. Good luck keeping that price because the materials go up. It's just a moving target. That said, this year, more construction loans than ever. They're in process. People are getting them. It's time consuming, I guess, to put the numbers together with their builder, but I'm seeing them come in. I just put one in today for new construction. I got another one going in tomorrow for new construction. So if they're lucky enough to find somebody that can do the work and lock in a price, or they have the money to pay for the overruns if it occurs, it just seems like there is a pent-up demand, and they're willing to spend the money no matter what to get what they want is kind of the impression I'm getting.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Ed. There's a question here from Lynn about price per square foot for construction. It is all over the board, and I will, Greg's going to walk away from this discussion, but or Bob, you can speak up as well. I mean, that number is all over the place, but it is, and it certainly depends on your preferences. But I mean, we priced out a house last year in Madison, beautiful home, middle of the range, and we were at about $84 a square foot last year. And that does not include the land, but the structure, and 184. These numbers, again, it's hard to build off of something like that. That was last year. I would say that people are starting almost at the 200 a square foot, and then going as high as 3 to 325. The sky's the limit. You could build a house at 500 a square foot. But
if I could comment on that, Brendan, when I speak to clients about price per square foot, it's really not a good figure to try and use because it's relative to what you want to build. To quantify that for you a little bit, if you come to me and you say, I want a 2,000 square foot house, what is the price per square foot going to be? Well, maybe you want unique Italian marble on all your countertops. You want imported tile. You want handcrafted cabinetry. So you could have a square foot cost as high as 500 a square foot, or in a range that, Brendan's talking in 180. 180, you're going to have vinyl floors. You're going to have maybe only one bath. So it's really, before you can talk about price per square foot, you have to talk about three different things. Number one, what are your goals in terms of quality of finishes? Number two, what builder are you going to use? Are you going to use somebody who's going to build you a modular home, or are you going to use a craftsman who's going to hand carve your handrails? And lastly, the thing that's going to contribute to your cost per square foot of construction, not just per square foot of the house, is your land cost. We have lots that are as small as a half an acre that will go for $200,000, or you can find a parcel in some of the more spread out areas in the valley where you may get an acre or 2 acres and get it for $70,000 to $100,000. So before you can even look at that you need to really self-reflect on where you're going with your project and what your flexibility is.
To tie into what Greg said, I think what's happening with all these prices and material prices is it's pricing the market for people who want to build a house to people who have unlimited resources. And a lot of the people we're building houses for now are building with cash, and they don't care.
Yeah.
They're going to spend whatever it takes.
That's a fair point, Bob. I mean, we do see some of the people jumping into the market. And I think, Bob, to tie that into a point you made earlier, where we're seeing some people come to the Valley from markets we haven't seen, influx from maybe New York City, or it's relative. We've seen people react to yearly taxes on our properties. And some say this is, well, we're on a fixed income and this is going to hurt. And others have said, you should see my taxes in New Jersey. This is nothing. And so price per square foot will be relative depending on the buyer that comes to the table. And Diane makes an excellent point that number will be a wild spread based on the features you want to build into a home: walkout basement, level lot. We're not even talking about the site work and drilling a well versus community water. There are a lot of variables there, and that's where the two benefits: either connecting with a real estate broker that can help give you some advice on where you're headed there, but more importantly, beyond us, you need a reputable builder who can sit with you and understand the numbers and make sure that you're being realistic with the figures you're putting on the table. We do have quite a few names in the valley here.